Yeah, hello and welcome. My name is Uli Blennemann, and I'm having a wonderful guest today, Pablo Clark. Pablo, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. Thanks so much for having me on.
Yeah, so I'm really excited talking to you, Pablo, but first, please introduce yourself.
So, my name is Pablo Clark. I am the designer and illustrator of the Old King's Crown, and I also help run the publisher of that game, the English language publisher of that, called Eerie Idle Games.
Yeah, wonderful. And so obviously, Pablo, you are a gamer. Which type of gamer are you? So which games or genres of games do you prefer?
I think I'm a confused gamer. Um, I like a lot of different kinds of games, and I have quite a spotty history with games. I have probably played a lot less games than might you might be considered conventional as a designer of board games. I haven't. I mean, I play them obviously, and I love them. And yes, but I like lots of different types of games. I would say my preferences tend towards heavier games.
Mhm.
I like games that are experimental
Mhm.
and messy. I don't think I don't think perfect is always interesting in the design. I want edges.
Mhm.
Um, I love Pax Pamir, for example.
Oh,
That's one of
yes.
my favorite games. Some of the games, but then I also love Tash Noir. Just
Yeah. Mhm.
couldn't be more different. I love that game. And so that is the type of game I am. Confused, but with interested and hungry to learn more about
I
games.
love the term confused gamer, so
Yeah.
I have to remember that one. It's great. But you already mentioned it that you are part of a game company, Eerie
Mm.
Idle Games. So when was Eerie Idle formed, and what are you doing, and what is your role in the company, Pablo?
Yeah. So I helped form Eerie Idle Games to bring to life the Old King's Crown.
Hmm.
Um, and it was formed so that I didn't completely lose my mind. So I formed it with the co-owner, Andrew McKelvey, and he is just as integral to the Old King's Crown. The game couldn't have been made without him, and his um, unwavering patience in the face
Yes.
of
Mhm.
my strange requests. So yeah, we formed a company, and like a lot of things, like the Old King's Crown and our experience designing that game, it was a long process, one that percolated over many years, and it didn't just spring into existence, but rather, piece by piece. Oh, perhaps we could form a company, and what would that look
Mhm.
like, and what would our aims be? And our aims
Mhm.
would broadly be to make a few good games
Mhm.
slowly,
Yeah.
um, and with care is the
Mhm.
is the aim. There's too much stuff in the world,
Oh,
um,
yes.
and
Oh, yes. I
and if we can contribute a little bit of meaningful stuff in there, great. But yeah.
it's a great structure, I guess, and I guess the aim is also excellent. And a lot of companies try this, but it's
Mm,
difficult. Of course, you need a
yeah.
really a strong game, and of course, by now, I think most people know about Old King's Crown. And but Pablo, how did that game start, and
Mm.
what was the initial idea? And in this context, do you like lane battlers, Pablo?
Well, so I first designed the Old King's Crown using a deck of cards
Mhm.
to play in a like on a camping trip, which is which is stupid because that you could try playing this in a tent, but good luck. You need a big tent, right? The final game is big, but that initial idea came from that. Um, and we were speaking just before this call started, and I mentioned that I think that playing cards are like these mythical objects, especially for design. I think they're like so wonderful because they have so much inherited um, properties that you can play
Mhm.
around with. Who are the characters in those things? What do the values represent? What do the suits represent?
Yes.
And those from those markers, you could start to spark all these wonderful ideas. Um, so the Old King's Crown was something that grew up slowly and over time, many years. I mean, many years. And for many
When
years,
did you start on the game? Or when did you have the initial idea?
I I don't even know. It was a very long time ago. But it didn't have any artwork attached to it. It had the
Mm,
loosest of themes. Um, and I what I wanted to do with the design was because I felt like if I was going to make something, I could learn as I went. So it was always about building on foundational elements. One bit the design, and then I would see how much weight that bit could bear.
mm,
So if you were just fighting, could the game be not always about fighting? Could there be
mm.
a court or a
Yeah.
council? And then I'd check how much that could bear. And if it did, then that's interesting because then the scoring system in the game has expanded. Okay, well, could we express other ways of scoring that are not just related to those two things? Okay, excellent. Uh, how do we enrich in the conflicts? How do we do that? And in some ways, its core is a lane battler, but I'd never played a lane battler, so I had no
You
familiarity
brute.
with the genre. I I I think the first lane battler that I ended up playing was Omen. That's
Yeah,
the
yeah, yeah. I have that
so
game too. It's a
yeah.
very good game.
It's great. It's great. I really love John Cletus's work. I love the kind of pseudo punk way of making things, and I love that he just digs into these little systems, which I think is great. And then since then, obviously, I've played a bunch more
Yeah.
lane batters. But I remember the horror of learning what a lane battling system was and going, oh no, I'm designing that. Although I do think it's very different. I actually think the Old King's Crown is not a great lane battler because it's other things. I think it uses the bidding that is implicit in lane battling more than it uses the purity of the lane battling system,
Yes.
maybe.
I do agree. When I'm thinking about lane battling and Old King's Crown, um, I'm seeing it more as a tool in the game, as
Hmm.
one part. And it reminds me of, for example, Mombasa or a few acres of
Oh yeah.
snow for deck building or
Hmm.
arcs. And I also saw behind you Brian Boru, I
Yeah.
think, which is more trick taking as a tool within
Hmm.
a board game. So it's
Hmm.
obviously Old King's Crown is much more than just pure fighting, and you already mentioned this. But your initial idea was more a fighting game, and then during the design and development process, it evolved, or how did this happen?
Yeah, at its very start, the first version of the game had three areas that you would fight over, and it had a way to get cards back, and it punished you if you ran out of cards. So I was thinking of supply lines,
Mm,
and this is going to sound strange, but a game that I hadn't played Lane Battlers, but like these block historical games, like
mhm.
Hammer and Scots.
Yeah.
Um, I was thinking of like Fog of War.
Mm,
That's what interested me about the
mm,
lane battling. That you could pitch a card down,
mm,
face down, and there would be in that would be implicit information.
mm,
So like I'm about to run out of cards, so I kind of need to recall my cards.
mm,
So there's an implicit value for me to win there, and my opponent knows this, and I know this. How can I play around with that? Can I subvert that? Can I brute force my way into winning that? So it was a game about, in my head, about fog of war
mm,
above almost anything else. Fog of war and supply,
mm,
because the game has this kind of binary outcome where I win, you lose, but the value of that is sometimes the fact that I denied you something,
yes.
which is in my head operated a bit like denying supply lines or cutting supply lines.
Mm,
And the health of your deck and the amount of cards that you have in your hand are also that. And that's why the mechanic is called attrition. When you run out of cards, like
Yes.
a deck builder, you make a new deck, but
Mm.
you're permanently sort of punished or semi-permanently punished by your hand size going down. And that was meant to reflect that. Um, the idea that sustaining a conflict is a messy and horrible thing, you know.
Yeah.
But obviously expressed in this very, very simple way.
Mm. But most interesting. So I'd never thought about this before, but it makes perfect sense. Yeah, very interesting. And thank you for mentioning this
No, no, good.
process here. But your role in this game is very special, Pablo, because normally, with some exceptions, you have the designer, you have the developer, editor, and you have the artist, and you work
Mm,
together as a team. But you are not only the designer, but you're also an artist, or the artist of the game. How do these two roles work together, and
yeah.
how did they influence the design?
Yeah, so I think they helped for sure. They helped do it. So I do the illustrations, all the like beautiful graphic design in the game. That's not done by me. It's done by Andrew and by
Yeah.
Ken, who's also at the company. But the illustrations, it meant that there was like a long road ahead of us. Once we determined that I was going to draw it, and I sort of arrived at the idea. Well, I think I could draw this, and it meant that it was created in an environment that is antithetical to conventional publishing, which is
Mm.
typically the game design, an artist is attached, and that artist is usually given a very finite period of time to bring to life this existing idea. And what was interesting to me was that the two things could grow up side by side. It's one of the reasons why I really admire leader games and obviously now Brave Giant. But this idea that it's whole, it's holistic, that the design can go arm in arm with
Yes.
with the artwork. It was absolutely a game before it was ever illustrated,
Mm.
but it allowed me to the art did in some ways inform the design in that as the game got less about conflict, even though there's lots of conflict in it, um, especially with the artwork, because I wanted it to be atypical. I didn't want lots of soldiers running around. I wanted that all to be implied,
Mm.
like there's armies, with your supporters and things like that. But I wanted to focus on the people. For example, there's quite a lot of older people in the game,
Yeah. Mm.
and I wanted the kind of pathos of that and the vulnerability of that almost. That these are atypical. They are not people holding a big sword or a gun or
Yeah.
whatever. And if they are holding those weapons are nearly always at rest. They're,
Mm.
they're, they're in a moment of reprieve or a moment of contemplation or something like that. And so that definitely informed the design because it made me more comfortable to explore scoring that is outside of all like conflicts or effects that are more political or more than just about negation and attack.
Mm. Yeah, interesting. Most interesting. I think it has lots of advantages, but as you mentioned, um, normally when an illustrator, an artist is attached to a project, yeah, that person only has 3, 6, or whatever month to finish it.
Yep.
And of course, each artist has their own vision. And your vision, you know what you want to illustrate there. What is really the focus of the game? So I think, in my opinion, Old King's Crown is beautiful. So really, it is a great marriage here that you are a designer and artist for the game. But speaking about the focus of the game, what is,
Mm.
in your opinion, then the focus? You hinted on this already, but what do you like most in of Old King's Crown?
I think I think I think the focus of the game is I think it's a big, heavy strategy game with this kind of foundation of that expresses its mechanics through bidding or and to degree fog of war. But I think it's a game that really invites you to measure up your opponent or opponents and what they want to achieve and how are they going to achieve that. And so I think there's like a sort of conversational element about the game, which I really like. If someone is being loud and declarative about what they're trying to achieve, you can use that against them. That can be used to hide things. Um, it can inform your own decision making. And I
Mhm.
think that for some players, you know, because it is a polarizing game in some ways, and I think the people who get upset with the design typically, I think, or there's a portion of those people who are accustomed to who want their strategic decisions to be inoculated
Yeah.
from the outside world.
Mhm.
And I think it it's it's a game that you are under pressure,
Yes.
and insulating yourself from that is part of the strategy. The world is not, you are not segmented. You are brought into conflict with each other all the time. And how you protect yourself from that is a huge part of it. Creating moments of certainty in the game are huge strategic things. They're like real, they add real value to your strategy if you can rely on something in a
Mhm.
game that can otherwise be quite unreliable, not random. It's
No.
very little randomness in the game, but there is the sense that your plans are
Mhm.
can be shaken.
Yeah. Yeah, what I like a lot in the game, yes, it is definitely not only a conflict game, but you are in conflict with all people on the at the table, and I think it shines here, and it is a little bit different from a lot of games these days. We see a lot of games where you build your tableau, your player mat, you build your engine, and you hardly notice what the other people at the table are doing because you simply try to get more efficient and better in your game. And I think in Old King's Crown, you're always engaging with all people playing, and that is also very good in my opinion. Um, yeah, but Pablo, what are you planning with Old King's Crown in the future, in the Old King's Crown universe? Maybe you can give us some hints.
So, well, we've we've been working for this last year, um, well, last like 10 months more on an expansion for the game.
Hmm.
We rolled into it basically right after we had handed in the files for the original game, and that's because we knew that we wanted to spend more time in this world, and there's more things we wanted to say with it, and crucially, we wanted to introduce new factions and what would they say about the world, how they feel, but we also wanted to grow the world.
Yeah.
So there's some things in the expansion that kind of, if the camera is zoomed out, it's quite far, it zooms out a little bit more, and there's another element to the world, which was really exciting to me, both mechanically and just storytelling wise, because I think what I like about the world and making it over a long period of time is that it it's kind of amorphous.
Hmm.
The castle is not it's not really a castle. It's an abstract idea of all the castles that are in the kingdom, and the amount of distance between that and the battlefield is abstracted.
Hmm.
And I like that. I like those gaps where the imagination can fill things in, and the world can come to life in between the stories and the elements are being told. As a company, um, we've been working on that, and we've also been working on some other things, which we will announce.
Sooner
down the
or
line.
later.
Yeah. Some sooner than others, but All King's Crown has absolutely been the focus.
Yeah.
But because we've been a studio for years,
You worked on
you know,
stuff and
we like making stuff, you know.
yeah,
So
right, right.
yeah.
Yeah, but you're also doing for Old King's Crown very soon a crowdfunding campaign, right?
hmm
That
Yeah.
is,
So it starts on the 3rd of March and it's on GameFound. So the original campaign was on Kickstarter and this one's on GameFound. And what it's allowing us to do is reprint the game because when the Old King's Crown came out, I mean, I couldn't believe the reception it got. I love this game and it's been my life for years, like a very long time. But it's also a strange game and it's a thorny game, and we had no idea of how it'd be received. And the demand for the game swept away our ability to keep up with it. We're a small studio, and although our first print run was large, relatively, we couldn't do it. So this new campaign allows us to get the game into people's hands. Specifically, they'll be able to if this is just English language, but they'll be able to get it slightly
yeah.
earlier. And then yeah, so that'll be beginning on the 3rd, and I can't wait. I'm excited. I'm excited to show off the things we're working on. I'm also excited to go to sleep at some point, like once the
Yes.
campaign's underway. That'd be just lovely.
Yeah, but
um,
I will add for everybody. So first thing, everybody should right away move to GameFound, follow the campaign. That's the first step. Then on the 3rd of March, please back the game at GameFound. And I will add a link in the notes to this video here, which tells you how to follow. That's the first thing. German language, by the way, will be done by Spielworks. So, and pre-orders for the game will start on the 3rd of March as well via the Spielworks website. So, but I'm really excited about the game and the future you're doing and about any ideas you're having because I think it was wonderful just listening to your views about of the game and how you designed it and how you developed it. And yeah, lots of
well, thank
success
you.
here, Pablo.
No, thank you. It's been a pleasure, and it's been great. Making this with you, and I'm looking forward to people in Germany playing it. I mean, it's surreal. It's surreal. This thing that was so small for so long, just people playing it is still mind-boggling to me.
Yeah, but you deserve this success. It's the game is excellent, and so again, immediately move to GameFound to follow the campaign, and then on the 3rd of March, please back this. Pablo, thank you very much, and again, lots of success. We'll probably only meet in October at Essen. And looking forward to that, of
Yeah,
course. And yeah, good luck.
yeah. Thank you so much, Uli. I really appreciate it. And yeah, here's to Essen.
Yeah.
Can't wait.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Bye.